Hello, my doves, and welcome to my temple. My name is Jacqueline Seven Star, and if you've come across this video, then these messages are meant for you. I have specifically charged and intended that those who need to hear these messages will find this video. And so if you're tuning in today, you're going to notice a lot of themes for this collective is apparent again, and it's just things about learning more about how you are an angel upon the earth, a messenger. You carry a transmission and a pattern. More topics about reclamation, boundaries. I think especially because with the family holidays coming up, it's interesting to me the patterns about family and ancestral generational reclamation is here. As well as a couple of your angel guides, guardian angels hijacked my contemplation and had some beautiful practical things to kind of help you coming into the week for fun, I think. So we'll be going over that as well. And the way that everything came through, it was so much of a download, guys, that I'm hoping that there's some coherence to it, but please forgive me if the topics seem to jump around a lot. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, my name is Jacqueline Seven Star, and I've been a professional tarot reader for 16 years. I've been communicating with the spirit realm for over 20, studying esotericism, mystery teachers, sacred technology, and then also information on astrology and soul records, which is one of my greatest passions, which is interesting because one of the things that the guardians came through for today really wanted to talk about soul records and astrology. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but that's kind of like, so you know where I'm coming from and who you're speaking with, your guide for today. But let's go ahead, and I want to start kind of with a particular message. The way that it came through, like I said, was it was a lot of information today, guys. I think they really wanted to pile it in for this video. So what I'm actually going to do is kind of start off with 3 phrases that they gave me, as well as this idea of hypervigilance. So I think we're going to talk more about why I'm mentioning hypervigilance, but when I saw Saturn in Cancer and Uranus in Cancer come through for my readings, you guys know me by now. I like to tune into planets and zodiac to get an idea, the flavor of this reading. And so we're really dealing with family patterns, and specifically this collective, because you are an angel upon the earth and because you came in with a transmission, many of you have a family of origin that took from you, didn't care for you. It's called like the mother wound. And that doesn't necessarily mean the wound came from your mother, but at some point you were not cared for, nurtured, welcomed, supported. And so that's a lot of what was coming in. And maybe you were the parents of your parents, but what I'm hearing is all of you have so much capacity in this collective. It is miraculous how much you are able to give, how much energy you're able to hold, and how much you are able to see. And when you come with that, unfortunately, when you're young, you don't have boundaries, and maybe you didn't have parental figures or authority figures that protected you. So patterns were developed in you to kind of survive, and hypervigilance is one of them. And so that's why I'm going to just start out with hypervigilance, because I had a guide come through and they asked me to just spell it all out. So I wrote it down, and I wrote down these 2 phrases they wanted me to say and this one idea, which, okay, let's go ahead and get straight into the phrases they wanted you to hear. Then a big one was, you were never meant to be broken by what broke others. You were never meant to be broken by what broke others. So I think the reason why they're telling me this is because you specifically, I don't know how many people know this, but in my own journeying, And I have a soul that works with souls. And I've done it many lifetimes. And I have seen like these waiting halls of souls before we incarnate into earth. And oftentimes it depends on your level of vibration or hierarchy that you kind of get to choose your record and your blueprint. And you guys, specifically in this collective, decided to come into specific ancestral lineages to break some really hard patterns. So I am so impressed by this collective that signed up for this. What were you thinking? What were you thinking? Whoa. What I'm sensing is like the lineages that you guys came into were very heavy. Like we're talking repeating patterns over and over and over again, and there hasn't been a single cycle breaker until you came along. And so that is why there's this prophecy they're having me speak was you were never meant to be broken by what broke others. So, and then this is a phrase that they want you to kind of think of often, and that is choose the path of who you've become, not the one who had to survive. What I'm hearing is this is like your mantra for like right now, because you're getting to live and choose as your sovereign self now. And it's important to make choices based on your sovereign true self and not who you were to survive. And I'm hearing that there were some interesting cleansing moments. So some of you guys may have experienced this in the past couple of days or weeks where you became very aware of relationships in your life or very aware of patterns. And so it's so that you're continually, constantly choosing as your sovereign self. So those were the two things that they wanted me to say. And then now they wanted me to talk about this concept of the death of hypervigilance. So I'm thinking this collective, bless you. When you have hypervigilance, it usually means that you have complex PTSD. You possibly could be neurodivergent as well. You also could have had emotional abuse, possibly physical abuse. Or certain patterns from your family of origin that made you have to be hyper aware of your safety and security. And here's what I'm hearing is a lot of people in this collective were never welcome in their own home in a way. Like there wasn't ever a time where you could be carefree. You almost immediately had to be an adult, and you never quite felt safe and secured and supported. And if you have that in your family of origin, the patterns within you that get created for your survival are immense and intense. And hypervigilance is one of the ways that that manifests. So let me talk about what that looks like. What are the type of patterns that you might see? We're just going to call them out just to give them more clarity. This collective already knows this, and I know this, so it may just be me telling you something you already know. But sometimes it's nice to be affirmed, right? To know that there's a witness to what you went through. And I think that's kind of what that guardian angel was getting at. So, you are somebody that had to anticipate other people's emotions. That's another thing. You might have dealt with addiction in your family, or just volatility, or like an emotional volatile person. So you almost have to anticipate people's emotions in order to protect yourself and your own safety. You often have to manage tone, reaction, and energy. So you are somebody that this is what's crazy is like most people, they don't have to think about this, but you are someone that had to think about the way that you speak and your tone and whether or not that will rock the boat. You have to think about what the reaction would be so you know your response. and just kind of like reading the energy of the room. You also had to adjust yourself. I already said that, to prevent blow-ups. You had to mirror others for safety. So not only are you doing all of this managing and watching and adjusting, you also had to mirror in order for people to feel safe around you, and so you don't become a target. I also think like a lot of you are very spiritually sensitive, and I know this already. We know this collective, right? You guys are messengers, oracles. You work in energy in some way, or with the sacred, and so you're automatically already sensitive. So I'm just kind of like, the guardians really wanted me to get specific about how you came into this lifetime with the mission and with this sensitivity in these families of origins, and the type of energies you experience because of it. You had to suppress your own needs, and that's a big one, because maybe it wasn't okay to ask for help. And if you did, like, you were met with hostility. And we've talked about this before on this channel. So you've learned how to suppress your own needs and attend to everybody else. And then you shrink to keep the peace. So I think, because it's kind of funny, it's like, because you had the capacity and the generosity, you're the one that was the dumping ground. You're the one that suddenly everybody looked to. It's because of your power and your inner light and your inner strength. Naturally, the people around you are going to feel that on a subconscious and unconscious level, and immediately start placing that on you and reach for you for their own comfort. So you are basically carrying the emotional weather for your family or your relationships, and that repeated over and over and over again. So I hope I did this angelic guardian some justice, just to kind of call all of this out into the open, so that there is a little bit more understanding of what you went through. And I think you guys know. But it's nice to hear clarity and like words to what you experience, because you guys really had the trifecta. One, you came in here with a mission, so you're automatically spiritually sensitive. You're a very old soul, so your capacity is large. And then you came into a very difficult, dense family of origin. So it was just this perfect storm, but you knew that's what it took to get to your level of sovereignty and power and authority in order for you to live your transmission and pattern on this earth. So no big deal. Okay, I'm trying to decide whether to go into a little bit more about soul records, or just go ahead and, okay, they're already telling me. I love when that happens. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the zodiac and the planetary influences that they gave me, because it rounds out what they wanted me to tell you. And so we had Sun in Aries and Moon in Capricorn. All you need to know is this told me that the energy of what you're kind of experiencing right now is initiation and responsibility. Basically, I am choosing as my sovereign self. You are living a new life from a sovereign place. And so you are being given right now opportunities for you to choose as your sovereign self and act as your sovereign self. For instance, if somebody asks you for a favor for something, but you know it goes against your needs, you're being vocal about that and staying centered to yourself. Say you're traveling for the holidays and people have accommodations and you're getting to choose your accommodation. Instead of doing what's easiest for everybody, you are saying what is easy for you. Let's say you provide a service and they are asking you how much it costs, and you are saying how much you are worth without bending, even if it's awkward. Or you are vocalizing your truth to somebody that is not used to hearing you say it. So these are ways that you can have, you can be responsible as your sovereign self and get to practice those new muscles. And so a lot of you guys are going to be feeling like you have sore muscles. That basically means like your nervous system is overheating a little bit because you are building these new synapses and these new patterns as your sovereign self. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you might be feeling like your nervous system might make you more anxious or maybe too hyper aware, but it's because you're literally massaging these muscles and building these muscles of the sovereign self. So that is Sun in Aries and Moon in Capricorn energy. Then they gave me Sun in Libra and Moon in Capricorn, which is relational truth and emotional maturity. So you are basically asking yourself, what is balanced in my relationships? My relationships have to be reciprocal and they have to be aligned. So this past week, this collective experienced something of an enacting force, which we've talked about before, because it's time for all of your relationships to be aligned. Whoa, I know. And that's because you're living now as your sovereign self. And so you are now the role model. You are the emissary of what it means to be a sovereign being. So you cannot have any relationships that are not aligned. And so you were probably shown that. Things might have gotten dusted up for you to be aware and clear about where you are in your relationships and having to make some decisions. And this also means you unlock this level of relational truth. Basically, you can trust yourself now when it comes to what you feel and see about relationships. And it's asking you to always make sure they're balanced and equal and there's reciprocity. There is none of that anymore, not even iota, not even in a millimeter. You guys have to have aligned relationships because your body literally will not let you anymore. Your energetic signature and your vibration is so high that it cannot be allowed anyway. So it will cause disharmony in your field immediately. So this is really about maturity in your relationships and refusing to play to old patterns. So that was the Sun in Libra, Moon in Capricorn. Then we had Saturn in Cancer and Uranus in Cancer. I was like, holy moly. Okay, so this makes sense why we're talking so much about family of origin. So just to give you an idea, Saturn in Cancer is the mother wound, emotional security, and old attachments. This is basically at birth what you were taught in terms of healthy attachment. And when you have Saturn in Cancer, it's like, ooh, it's like I can see you guys, you're in the soul holding room. You're looking at your web of your blueprint of your life and you're like, oh, I know. Let's pull Saturn in Cancer and make our family of origin have a reckoning in terms of, never being carefree, never feeling safe, never being secure, never feeling supported, being a guest in my own home, or not ever really, your family not really having your back. Yeah, let's add that. Because you knew there would be a huge reclamation that would happen. But basically, when you have Saturn in Cancer, you have to, in your journey, you get to learn boundaries the hard way. And then you learn that asking for help wasn't okay, but now you're learning how to ask for help on the plus side. And then you are learning emotional autonomy, because the people that you grew up with or were surrounded by, they relied on you to be their emotional support person. You never had emotional support. I'm going to say that one more time. You never had emotional support. You were always alone. Whew, you guys really picked a doozy for this lifetime. But that was kind of telling me this. And I want to talk about a concept that they showed me called timeline reclamation. And Mercury retrograde, which we're still in, is a great time to do this. So two things. One, they've shown me something happened a year ago around this time where you had a major, a veil was removed and you saw reality and you had to make some hard choices. So kind of think about where you were a year from now and look at it now as with your sovereign eyes. Second, timeline reclamation. This is a little assignment that your guides wanted me to give you. I want you to picture yourself as your adult self now, glowing and just put together and showing up to your childhood home. Maybe during a time was when it was hardest for you. So picture a very difficult time in your childhood home. Where were you living? Where was the house? Picture yourself, your adult self, driving up, knocking on the door, telling the people there that I am here for me, like in whatever your name is. And you are literally picking her up or him up, and you are basically saying, you're coming with me. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to support you. You're going to be safe with me. I am so delighted you're living with me. I'm going to cherish you. And all I ask is that you be yourself and that you do what you feel is in your heart, and you have my support. And you may want to, say, take a moment, younger self, why don't you go sit in the car with all of your things, and I need to have a conversation with your parents or authority figures. And imagine what you would tell them. Because what I'm sensing about this collective is how pure-hearted and how talented and gifted and generous and easy to love you were. And it's like you were not seen that way. It's like they were not worthy of your soul, and it is heartbreaking. So this is your way to kind of like rewrite history and your timeline. What's amazing about the dimensional field or the informational field is past, present, and future. They're all one thing. Linear time is just an earth concept. So you can literally go back and reclaim that energy and rewrite it. And you've been living with your higher self and that's your healed self. And now you're living as that alternative version of yourself. So that is something called timeline reclamation. So they wanted me to bring that up. The other thing is Uranus in Cancer. So Uranus is like the lightning bolt. It is the shock, it is the reckoning. And you have it in Cancer, which Cancer is all about home, creativity, relationships, passions. So, and the mother, like it's called the mother Cancer, like when we experience what it means to have what is the highest form of a mother? She has unconditional love for you. She supports you. She admonishes you when you go wrong in a healthy way, teaches you healthy attachment, and you just feel safe and secure and taken care of. Like all your needs were met to where you really didn't have to think about food and shelter and things like that. You could just be your inner child or your childhood self. And so to have Uranus in Cancer is like emotional awakening, breaking family patterns, and liberation. So if you had this in your blueprint, in your soul record, if you were like, okay, let's have, Uranus in Cancer, let's put this in our experience upon the earth, and let's be a generational liberator. Woo! Sounds like so much fun. So this is what you kind of came into, but I think the most important is not just breaking family patterns and like the cycle ending with you. It was literally emotional awakening. I think this is the biggest thing because I'm sensing like that is a large wound upon our current earth, is the lack of emotional support or knowing how to emotionally support ourselves in a healthy way, because I don't think any generation was really taught how to do that. So yeah. Whew. Okay. So to kind of recap what all of this astrology that they showed me to kind of tell me a little bit about this collective is you learned how to claim yourself. You are the ultimate authority, and you basically are centered and you don't need anything outside of yourself. It's wholeness. So you claim yourself. You have emotional mastery now. There is no emotional upheavals or disruptions anymore. You know how to care for your emotional needs so that you're not rocked back and forth. You are clear and centered. You see relationships clearly now, and you can confront the mother wound when it comes to nurturing safety and security and be that for yourself and know how to healthily do that for others. And you reclaim your younger self from the past. So this was all the energies that they gave me for you today. And I know it's a lot, and I know we're going to be going over a little bit more than usual, but it's worth it, I promise. Okay, so you heard me call you Earth Angel, and that is why they wanted me to mention this to you. You are someone who designed your record and chose your life before incarnating into this lifetime. What does it mean? The word angel comes from the Greek angelos and the Hebrew word malak or malik. And it basically means messenger, transmission. You're a carrier of pattern, insight, information, and destiny. So you literally came through with a specific transmission that this world desperately needs, which is why your journey was so legendary and so epic. And what I thought was interesting too is I had some guides, like some guardians come by, and one of the things that they asked is for you to look to the stars and look into astrology. So I'm thinking they are, and I'm like, when they told me this, I was like, whatever, this collective knows astrology. But I think what they're saying is they'd like you to look deeper into astrology. Maybe somebody listening, if you were waiting for a sign to get deeper into astrology, this is your sign. Also, the astrology of your own natal chart. And I'm like, dude, this collective has it. You guys have your natal chart, right? But really start to look at the design of your astrology. And I mean like even like all of the planets and where the houses are, because I think a lot of you guys will have a lot of aha moments and more knowledge of yourself. The more you know about yourself, the better decisions you make as your sovereign self, and the easier it is to stay in alignment because you understand what you literally programmed. And that is something that I've made a lifetime study of, and I do offer that. It's called the Crystal Codex, to really look under the hood of your astrology and your blueprint and kind of what you encoded in this lifetime. So if you're interested, you can check that out. But mostly I think it was just a call for you guys to look further into that for yourselves, just for some more clarity and fun. The other thing that they gave me was using your hands. I think because your nervous system right now is really being charged as new programming is coming online in your brain, they want you to do something tactile with your hands. So this is a call for you to craft. Crafting and doing something with your hands can be so many things. It could be drawing, it can be painting, it can be crocheting, it can be knitting, it can be pottery, it can even be fixing things around your house, and it can be cooking. What I'm hearing is the most important thing for you to be doing is something tactile with your hands to kind of bring that extra energy in your crown and in your third eye, kind of grounded into the earth, because there's so much energy and power that's been upgraded on you that it would be kind of a way for you to be back in this reality and feel calm. And then the last thing that they gave me, and I don't think I can show this, but it was nourish your temple. So what I really like, my eyes really drew to like leafy greens. And so I think things are going on with your brain and it's asking you to feed your brain. So we're talking B vitamins, magnesium, leafy greens are really going to help you during this time. But also, how can you support your body to feel your most grounded, most calm self? And whatever that is, do like light stretching, if you like to work out a certain way, if you like to adorn yourself in a certain way. So I don't want you to think like nourishment means admonishment. This is not like discipline. This is nourishing your body so that you feel good. And I think especially because of all of this brain entrainment that you're going through. It's like things are overheating, and so you just want to give your brain some food to kind of help you with that transmission. So I'm going to leave it there because already we've gone way over than we normally do. But I feel so honored and privileged to give such a high vibrational message to such an incredible collective. So as always, the flame in me walks beside the flame in you, and may you rise in joyful fire.